Today we're talking about the X-E4 and why I bought it. I bought it used on eBay, and I honestly wasn't expecting to like this camera as much as I do. I mean, you're talking to me, I own the X-T5, which is kind of like my workhorse camera. I thought I'd for sure be wanting to use this camera a lot more than using the X-E4, but I find myself grabbing this camera a lot more when I want to go out and shoot. And given the fact that it's got a lot less buttons and dials and the specs are not nearly as good as what's on the X-T5, you would think that, yeah, I would not be wanting to use this camera very much. But I really do like it. And I took it recently on a little trip, and I just took this and two lenses. So I took the 27mm Pancake Lens, and I took the 50mm lens. I don't even think I ever took the 50mm out and put it on the camera. I think I pretty much just shot everything with the 27mm. The reason why I bought it was I really wanted something lightweight and easy to carry around. And that was the purpose for getting this. And I love the simplicity on this camera. Now, it's not as robust as my XS20, especially for video. The specs don't nearly compare to what the XS20 does. And definitely the specs for the photography side, they don't match up to what the X-T5 can offer. But I really like this camera. And I love the pictures that are coming out of it. So I'll show you some as I go through talking about this that I've taken recently with this camera. And I really like using the smaller lenses. So in about a week from the day I'm recording this, there'll be an X Summit in Shanghai in June of 2025. And it looks like there's a rumor that the X-E5 is going to be coming out. And when I posted that I bought the X-E4 recently, somebody had mentioned, yeah, maybe you should have waited for the X-E5. I thought about it for a while, and then I thought, no, not for me. Now, maybe for some others, yes, the X-E5 is going to be a camera that you're going to want to get. But for me, I already have the X-T5, so I have the 40 megapixel sensor, I have the IBIS, I have the larger battery, I have 2 card slots in that one. It's really robust on the photography and even on the video side. I also have the XS20, which handles all of my video recordings that I like to do in the studio. So I don't see the need for, especially for a third camera, for something that is going to match the features and specs of the other 2 cameras that I already have. This is my camera that I just want to go out and shoot with, and it's small, it's lightweight, and I honestly love the thumb grip. It really makes a difference on carrying this. Now, I put just a small strap on here, and I just put it around my neck and just walk around with it like this, you know, hanging off my neck. And it's light enough that it's not too, it doesn't bother you too much. Now, I was out for a couple of hours with it, and it was, you know, I could feel it, you know, pulling down on my neck. And I might want to put a wrist strap on here and carry it that way. I don't mind the fact that there's no grip here at all. I wouldn't even buy a grip for this camera. I just wouldn't. I like it just the way it is with the thumb grip. It fits really, really nicely in my hand. For my just little about town things, this camera is just perfect for me. So if an X-E5 comes out next week, am I going to feel bad that I bought this one? No, I don't think I will. If it has, the rumors are, you know, it's going to have IBIS and a 40 megapixel sensor. And I guess it'll be kind of like the X106 in that regard, except it'll have an interchangeable lens. There's rumors it's going to have a film simulation dial. I'm not really interested in that at all. I really like the fact that this is just stripped down basic and just has the 2 dials here. I'm just real happy I bought this camera. So I picked it up on eBay for just under $1,000. And what I liked about this one was the condition that it was in. On the silver editions, the paint can wear off pretty easily on these. So you'll see many photos of the used ones and they'll look pretty beaten up. This one looked perfect. I almost bought one from Map Camera in Japan. They have a great selection on eBay and they ship quickly and they have really good reviews, ratings and reviews. So that was the one that I was considering. The condition of that one wasn't as good and it was more expensive than this one. So this one I got from a US seller. He shipped it to me and it was in really perfect condition. It's pristine. Even the bottom of the camera was beautiful. I couldn't be happier with it. I've heard people mention about the attachment here. They changed it so it doesn't match like what's here on the X-E5, where you've got that the little loop that you put through. This one's got just a little bar here, and you can put it. But since I use the Peak Design connections, this works fine. I don't see any problem with this at all. If you like this video, please give it a like and subscribe to the channel. I'll be making more videos in the future and would love to have you as a subscriber. So would there be anything that would make me want to sell this and get an X-E5 if one in fact does come out next week? The only things I can think of would be maybe IBIS, but that would be about it. Would I want the 40 megapixel sensor in this? No, I wouldn't. The file sizes are much bigger. And for the shooting that I want to do with the camera, I'm perfectly happy with the 26 megapixel sensor. I think it's really well. In fact, the XS20 has the newer processor and the 26 megapixel sensor, and it takes beautiful photos. When I did that trip last year to Waxhaw, North Carolina, and walked around and took photos in there, I was really impressed on how sharp and crisp those photos came out. So the 26 megapixel sensor would be fine for me. Maybe some more buttons and dials. I've heard people talk about, this was a really stripped down version. They don't have the dial here for switching from single autofocus mode to continuous or to manual. That would be helpful, even if they, just had to put the little dial back here. That I would like that, but other than that, I'm perfectly fine using the Q menu to go in and change the autofocus mode. It's not a problem. And for me on the drive mode, the drive button here, it's not a problem either. I use that and I can easily just, push the joystick up to go to movie mode and push the joystick down to go back to still image mode. And I don't find any problems with that at all. Now, the other rumored item that may be coming out next week is a 23mm Pancake Lens. Now that does seem interesting to me. I have the 27mm 2.8 WR, and I have this 35mm 1.4 lens, which is my favorite lens of all of them, just for the images that it takes. Then I have the 23mm 1.4, which is this large lens that's on. Now this is a really sharp, beautiful lens. This is, I don't know if I would consider selling this lens to get a 23mm Pancake Lens. I don't know. I'd have to think about that one because I have the 35 1.4, so I like the faster aperture on the 35, and having it also for the 23 is great. And then I've got, the 27mm Pancake Lens, which is a f2.8. So there's rumors about whether or not this 23mm Pancake is going to be an f2. I think that's like the 18mm Pancake Lens. That's the old lens. I think that's an f2. The 23 could be either an f2 or an f2.8. So I think if it's an f2.8, I wouldn't consider getting it. I've got the 27 2.8, and then I've got this 23 that's a 1.4. So I just wouldn't see the need to to get that for that extra 4mm of focal length to get to the 23 for a Pancake. I'd have to see what the specs are on it actually just to decide. So the 23mm Pancake lens, I would really be curious to see what that looks like. An X-E5, probably not. Only reason I would do that is if I was actually considering selling the X-E4 or selling the X-T5, and I'm not really sure that that would be something that would be worth it for me to do. So anyway, I'm just curious. Are you interested in an X-E5 camera? Would you be ordering one if one comes out? And what are your features that you would like to see added to that X-E5 versus the X-E4 or the X-E3? Or do you think, yeah, maybe not an X-E is coming out at all, and we might get an X Pro 4 coming out next week? The rumor mill says we're getting an X-E5, so we'll just have to wait until next week to see. But anyway, I just wanted to make this video really quickly to just share what my thoughts are about the rumors and how happy I am with my X-E4. So if you are looking for a camera that is really just stripped down, simplified, easy to carry around and use, I recommend the X-E4. I really like it. I didn't think I was going to like it as much as I have. If you do get it and get the thumb grip, you'll be really happy that you did. And I will see you in the next video. Take care.